Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Sim Experience South Africa Weldmech Porsche Supercup Round 8, coming to you live from the Zandvoort circuit in the Netherlands. This, of course, is Round 8 of our 10-round championship.
Evening, Dennis.
Good evening, Sean. Just in time, I was just about to introduce you. I'm your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, and of course, as you can hear, that's Sean Woodgate. All right, our schedule for tonight. Well, for the rest of the season, we have Zandvoort tonight, we have Montreal next week, and the final round will be the Monza Grand Prix circuit. Just a quick look at our point system. I'm just going to put that up on screen, but basically, same points that you can get for race 1, you can get for race 2. There's also 2 points for fastest lap in both races, and 2 points for pole position. Our standings coming into this round, Gerrit Beekers currently on 328 points from Andre Duppenaar on 168, Sean Olivier in third on 145. Gerrit can actually wrap up the championship tonight if he just gets 2 points. Once he has 2 points, mathematically, he can't be beaten. So I'm sure Gerrit will be taking it easy tonight. And Jean de Toy dropping down to 4th place, unfortunately missing quite a few rounds. Chris Collison working his way up slowly. Mornay de Ploy still there in 6th, but he's likely to drop a bit now as well. Jason Underwood working his way up as well. I'm sure he'll make up a place or two. Stanton Augustus not here tonight. Peter Caldenes, I don't know if he's here yet. So quite a good turnout so far tonight, but quite a few of the guys that are actually higher up that have been here for regular races aren't here tonight. So we'll see how the points are after this. And just a reminder as well that we do have 2 different classes. We have a pro class and we have a veteran class. All the drivers competing take part in both categories, but the veteran drivers have their own championship as well. So even if they come 20th and they are the first veteran, they will get their veteran maximum points for that championship as well. At the end of the championship, we'll show the complete results for the veterans and for the pros and overall. Alright, let's go live into qualifying. I believe the drivers are now live in qualifying, so let's go over to qualifying. Right, the drivers are indeed live and on track. So, welcome to qualifying. This is the Sim Experience South Africa Weldmech Porsche Supercup qualifying for round 8. This, of course, is a 30-minute qualifying session coming to you from the Zandvoort circuit in the Netherlands. I'm your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean. Not sure, are you still there, Sean? I'm not sure if you've lost Sean. Good evening, Sean. I believe I was muted in Discord, so that would probably be why Sean wasn't able to hear me. Hopefully everyone can hear me now. Alright, let's see. Discord chat is not showing up as active at the moment. Let me just check what is going on there. I just broke, probably because it's on the wrong microphone. Right, hopefully everyone can still hear me. Sean, can you hear me? I'm not sure if Sean can hear me. I'm going to just keep following whoever's on track at the moment. Hopefully at some point Sean will see that I am chatting. He's probably not heard me and gone to go and find out what's happening. Apologies for that, everyone. Right, while we get everything up and running on the screen, we're seeing Andre Hildebrand now starting his flying lap. I am just going to quickly communicate to Sean. Hopefully he can hear me. Hopefully Sean can hear me now. Right, back to the action. Just waiting for Sean to reply. I'm sure he will say his greetings shortly. So So hopefully everyone could still hear me on the YouTube channel. If so, feel free to pop a comment. I'll be watching Andre getting a personal best. I'm sure everyone will have personal best at this stage of qualifying. So currently 14 drivers on track. I'm not sure who all we are missing at the moment. I'm a bit behind. Currently we have a few drivers that aren't here. Garrett Becker is currently the provisional pole sit on 136.8, so very good pace. We did see slightly faster in the practice session before this. Andre not setting a personal best in the middle sector. I guess on his outlap he did a slightly faster middle sector. Let's see what sort of time he puts up. His outlap was 3.5 seconds down. Let's see. In fact, it might have actually been a flying lap. Probably was. Alright, so let's jump to Yandre Dippenaar coming down the straight. He should be finishing a lap, or actually starting a lap. Right, into turn 1. Keep it nice and tight. Hug the curb. Help it rotate the car by doing that. Use the banking as well. This is one of those circuits where you can actually maximize the curbs. Use the curbs to your advantage. Let them pull you around, as well as using the banking around the various corners. So some of the corners are very banked, some of them are only slightly banked, but lots of undulations. It's not a massive change in height between the lowest and highest point, but lots of ups and downs and banks. It's almost like a roller coaster ride. Fantastic circuit. Right, so Yandre, not a fast first sector unfortunately, but let's see. It's a slightly sideways there. Let's see if he's currently in second position, only 3/10 shy of Garrett, but I guess someone just joined the server there. We have seen Garrett go a bit faster. We've seen Yandre go faster, so I think the times at the front aren't quite reflective. Currently Dinesh Singh in third place, which is fantastic. Jason Underwood currently in fourth. Chris hasn't yet done a time, and we know Chris is one of the faster guys. Speaking of Jason is on an outlap. He's actually just started. This is near the middle of the lap, so let's jump to Peter Murray. Navigating, I believe that was Donovan from Mark that had spun in sector 1. In the background we see Chris Collison heading out on track. Quickly typing to Sean here. Just ask Sean if he'll comment while I try and figure out why he can't hear me in Discord. I think Sean is going to rejoin. He's left, so hopefully he will rejoin shortly. And hopefully by then I will be able to give you better commentary. I'm focusing too much on that, so sorry for that. As we see Peter Murray heading into the pits. I guess he abandoned that lap. Some other drivers joining us tonight. We have Vessel Fullion. He's changed his name, so he's now showing as Zito Bandito. That is Vessel Fullion, so welcome Vessel Fullion. I'm not seeing our local driver, Arjun Belder, unless that's him joining this. This would be quite ironic if he's joining right now as I'm mentioning, but I don't think it is. So, Vessel currently on a flying lap. This is sector 1. Let's see if he can improve. Nicely sticker bombed car there. If you look at Julian Brains' car, he's got the same sticker bombs but only on the back of the car. Vessel decided he wanted over the entirety of the car, so his car looks absolutely amazing. The closer you get, the more you can read. It looks really good. Something very different. Slight lock up there. Slightly slower in Sector 1 as well, and I don't think that slide and lock up would have helped. I presume Sector 2 is not going to be his best either, unless he had a really bad Sector 2 in his previous lap. Currently 5.7 seconds off, or I think Harrod's just gone even faster because that's just grown to 6.3. Does indeed set a personal best in Sector 2. And Sean is back in Discord. Sean, can you hear me? Hopefully Sean can hear us. I don't think so though. Sean, if you're there, you could say something.
I think I found the problem. Dennis, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Sean.
It's just a pepcac error.
Did you have a device set incorrectly or something?
Yeah, it's a bright light shining here in front of me that I thought was actually a caps lock, but it's actually I had muted my own microphone somehow.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I'm doing all sorts of things. I'm probably going to reset now, so I might disappear for a while, but it might hopefully only be the that I'm re-logging onto my own screen. So I'll just do that quickly, and then I'll be back with you in a minute.
No problem. See you now. Good to have Sean's commentary back. All right, so Sean's just going to sort himself out, and then we'll hopefully be back to normal. So Chris Collison currently sitting in third place on an outlap. We'll get back to him shortly. Andre Duppenaar, I believe, is also on an outlap, slightly further around on the lap. I think he's just slowing down, maybe just getting a bit of a gap between himself and maybe someone that's in front of him. Is there someone in front of him? Doesn't look like it, unless he's let them go enough that we don't see them. Right, let's go on board with a flying lap with Andre Duppenaar. Unless he's going to the pits. No, he's going for a flying lap. There definitely is someone in front of him, so I presume he was just slowing down to create a bit of a gap. Right, heading into turn 1, braking just around about the 100 meter mark, turning nice and early. Try and get up onto the curb as late as you can, get a late apex there. Use the curb on the left just a little bit, not too much. Curb on the right if possible, keep it nice. You can go tighter or you can go wide. You can use the Formula 1 line or you can use the standard line. It seems to work both ways. Andre choosing to go middle ground, which is I think the most common that guys are doing at the moment with the banking.
Right, all set and ready to go now, Dennis.
Right, welcome back, Sean.
Yeah. And as these things, you think you've got everything under control. And then a funny thing that we have on the work setup is our account setup, and you actually authenticate your account on another app on your phone. And then I realized I'd left my phone on with the speakers plugged in, so it was down at 0 battery, so I couldn't authenticate myself to myself. So
couldn't prove that you are you.
That's it. Exactly that.
Right, Andre's personal best in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Let's see if he can improve and possibly challenge. It's not purple, so I don't know that he will get the fastest time, but maybe he'll get very, very close. 36.323 is the benchmark at the moment, set by Gerrit. Gerrit only needs to get 2 points to wrap up the championship, and in the driver's briefing he was saying, oh, I was just going to cruise around to get the 2 points. Well, he's cruising around to get that sort of lap time, and others have to get really worried. Yandere improved slightly, but only a fraction. I think it was 0.006 of a second faster than his previous.
It spins it around in Tarzan corner.
Chris Collison is fastest overall in the middle sector though, so let's see if Chris can challenge. He might take over second, or maybe even challenge up, takes over second.
Still 3/4 of a second behind Gerrit Beekes' best time. So they've got a lot of work to do.
And this will be our outgoing champion. So Jason Underwood, of course, is the previous Porsche Cup Championship winner that we had. That's why he has the number 1 on his car. Unfortunately, he's missed a lot of the rounds due to his work commitments. His cricket has been just at the wrong time, so he's now able to drive, but has missed half of the season. So he's slowly catching up, but he's, I think, possibly going to challenge for the 3rd spot, maybe. I think he's currently 5th in the championship, so doing well to catch up. Currently 4th in this session. Just shy, or just under a second off his teammate at the moment.
But for interest sake, I've got a bit of history on how the corners got their names. If anybody, or if Dennis, if you think, what have we got left? We've got about 14 minutes. If you see anything interesting happening on the lap scoring monitor that is worth noting, you can butt in, but shall I go around the track?
Yes,
Well,
let's find someone that's on a lap, and let's see if we can go for an onboard. Let's just find someone that's... Oh, yeah, that's the end of a lap. All right, that won't work. Here we go. This is a start, the finish of a lap, but let's just go on board and you can follow Peter Murray.
Turn 1, Tarzan Corner is reportedly named after a local character, Martin Zwemmer, who had a potato field there. I'm going to lag the corners. I'm going through the description, but I'll catch him up later again. And he was quite a big, wild-looking character. So his friends called him Tarzan, and he was around in about 1948. Legend has it that he only wanted to give up his vegetable patch in the dunes if the track designers named a nearby corner after him. Although it is called Tarzan Bocht in Dutch, all the corners are called a bocht. There are many different stories about Tarzan Corner, but that's the one that I could actually link a name to and a year to it, which made the most sense. Turn 2 is, it's what's slightly left and then right, is Gerlach Bocht, named after Dr. W. Gerlach, who lost his life there in 1957. Some people say it was the second fatality at Zandvoort. The first being, and I didn't actually put was Hendrik Duk on Saturday the 22nd of March 1952. But Dr. Gerlach lost his life there in 1957. So I could then verify that it was the second fatality at Zandvoort after a crash with his Porsche Carrera Speedster. There was no guardrail there at the time, so when his car hooked into the loose dune sand, it rolled on, and that was the name that was given in his honor. Turn 3 is Hoegenholzbocht, when the circuit director at the time, between 1949 and 74, Hans Hoegenholz, when he retired, there was no money for a farewell gift, so they named the corner after him. Hoegenholz only managed Zandvoort, but he also designed some famous racetracks, such as Suzuka, Zolder, Jarama, as well as Motordrom at Hockenheim. So I think the section they're going over now is Honserich, which actually comes in nicely, was named after Cas Hunze, the chairman of the Royal Dutch Motorcycle Association. Cas once advertised the Zandvoort mayor Henry van Alphen on the construction of the, consulted him on the construction of the racetrack, and it's often incorrectly written as Honserich with a Z, but it's actually Honserich with an S, named after Cas Hunze, which is obviously spelled with an S. Turn 5 is, sorry Dennis?
No, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Slotermaker Bocht, turn 5. Rob Slotermaker died there after crashing in a touring car race with a Chevrolet Camaro on the 16th of September 1979. So that's fairly recent. If you're of my age, then that's fairly recent. Rob was the founder of the anti-skid school at Zandvoort. Also the mentor of many Dutch drivers, including one which I think most of us will know fairly well because of the estate Volvo that they raced in British touring cars, Jan Lammers. But Jan Lammers, not many people remember, but he also raced Formula 1. So Rob Slotermaker was his mentor. Turns 6 and 7 go together. It's the schijfvlak in Dutch. Now, it's the same Afrikaans word to skei, or if you were to go in English, skei would be divorce, but it also means to separate. And it's the border in Old Dutch in the 19th century. This was the border between the public dunes and the dunes of the young Lord Charles van Offert. So, yes, there was a line drawn on a map, and that separated his royal dunes from the public dunes. Turn 8, which is Masters Corner or Masters Bocht. I actually had to consult with my colleague that I had the privilege of commentating at Zandvoort with twice as to how did the corner get its name. And we'll just say it very quickly. It was previously known as Marlboro Masters. And then, of course, with the demise of cigarette advertising, the Marlboro fell away and they retained their name as Masters Bocht. Turn 9, believe it or not, has no name at present. I think it was previously known as Renault Corner, and there's a very active Renault Clio Cup, but somehow I don't think they put the money down to put their name on Turn 9. Then the current circuit sponsors, CM.com, they're a mobile service company based in the Netherlands. They have Turn 10 with their name and livery on it, and that was previously in Dutch also known as Bocht zonder Namen. That means corner without a name. Then turns 11 and 12 is the Hans Ernst chicane, named after the previous circuit director Hans Ernst, who put the CM.com Circuit Zandvoort on the international map again from the 1990s onward and contributed to the iconic status that the circuit has today. Then again, turn 13 has no name at present, and that's a very important corner because the exit of the corner is of great importance for the ultimate top speed into the Arie Luijendijk bocht and the chance of a slipstream potentially there as well. And that brings us to the last corner, Arie Luijendijk bocht. The corner is named after the two-time winner of the prestigious Indianapolis 500. Those were in the years 1990 and 1997. Arie was inducted into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Hall of Fame in 2009 and the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America in 2014. And once again here, if you find it on the internet, they've gone for the more anglicized spelling of Luijendijk with L-U-Y and the D-Y-K, but it's actually the Dutch spelling correct is Arie Luijendijk. It's L-U-I-J-E-N-D-I-J-K. So Arie Luijendijk. And yeah, that's the last corner. This again is the first corner, as you see, Tazenbocht, and that going into Garlachbocht. Nice banking there, as you can see. Sorry, I've got it wrong. That was the Arie Luijendijk bocht. Going down the main straight, the grandstand on the left, the commentary booth I had the pleasure of on the right. There you can see the CM.com advertising. This is Tarzan. As they go around Tarzan, just getting it almost right. I'll just follow him quickly now with the names. Garlachbocht, and that flows into Hugenholz. That's the banked curve, which they can take either the high road or the low road. Then Hunzerich, which isn't a corner, but it's just a hill which descends, named after Kas Hunze. And that goes on for quite a bit, and then into Rob Slotemaker. And once you come from Rob Slotemaker, there's the boundary between the royalty and the pagans, Schijfvlak. And then the one that used to be called the Marlboro Masters, now the Masters Corner. Turn 9 itself, no name. Oh, and he slides it round so that he gets a 360 view of that corner. He's seen all of it and back to bits. So yeah.
Quite a lot of naming history there. Thank you very much, Sean. That was interesting. I see one of our comments in YouTube, which was unfortunate just before we went live, so it didn't come up. Malt van Aarde. I'm not sure if he's Dutch, because we do, of course, have one Dutch driver with us, who I at the time didn't think was online, but he is. What's it? Arjen Balder, currently in 12th position. I'm not sure if Malt is a friend of his or a supporter of his, but if you are, you can just greet us, perhaps greet us in Dutch. we'll know it's you, we'll know who you're supporting. We're watching Gerrit. He's just gone fastest overall in the first sector, then slightly slower than his personal, actually slowest of all of his times in the middle sector. Let's see how his lap time progresses. Currently, Andre Duppenaar is 3/10 shy. Chris Collison is almost a 10th, just shy of a 10th shy of Yandre. So very, very close for the top three. We've got just under 6 minutes left to go. So now we're into the serious part of qualifying where the guys are going to be putting in their fastest laps now. Here it does indeed drop down to a 36.0. Right, let's see if anyone can respond.
Yeah, he's certainly going to try and make this championship his own. Well, he scores 1 point if he gets the fastest lap time, so that's already one step closer. for qualifying, and then it's the race itself and potentially another bonus point in the race if he gets the quickest lap in the race itself.
Well, if Garrett gets pole position, that would mean he's champion. So they need to do what they can to keep him off pole position.
At that stage, it looks very difficult for them, but nonetheless.
Well, we see Chris locking up slightly there, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. These cars do lock the brakes fairly easy if you have your brake pressure set too high, which I think the guys tend to try to run them as high as possible so they can brake as late as possible. The problem is once you lock these brakes, this particular car is very sensitive to flat spots. And that flat spot, driving a race long, a 30-minute race with a flat spot from a lockup like that is certainly not pleasant. Qualifying is a different story. It's one lap, you can box after that, but you don't want to be doing that in the race because that flat spot will ruin your race. And drifting like that will as well.
Yeah, shake the fillings out of your teeth as well. Not a very pleasant thing to experience is flat spots on tires.
Jason looks like he took a little bit too much curb there. I got a comment there from Johan saying, hi guys, perhaps you could just type that again. I'm not sure if it was working.
Is that, are you asking Johan to type the comment again?
Yes, hoping that he will, because it's not popping up on screen at the moment. I'm seeing it in the box here, but it doesn't want to go on screen, so I've just re-enabled it. Hopefully that will clear it, and then everything will pop up like it should. Jason really throwing the car in sideways there.
I'm trying everything and then some, but at the moment it's more than half a second that Gerrit is quicker than Jandre, and Chris Collison is only just behind Jandre, so very, very tight for second and third position.
And we saw Jason losing his rear wing there as he went off.
Well, that's not very good because you'll have to come into the pits to get that fixed. Rian van der Westhuizen is on a good lap. All greens all over, so it's personal bests for him. And let's see what he can do when he gets to the finish. Dinesh had a good qualifying so far in 5th.
Yeah, Johan's asking, I'm not sure if it's popping up. I didn't see it pop up on screen here. I'm getting a slightly delayed image here, so I'm not sure what's happening, but I'm getting a very delayed image on the YouTube window that I watch things on here. I'm not sure if Johan's messages did pop up on screen, but basically Johan's saying hello, so good evening, Johan. Asking how many points does Gerrit need for the championship? 2. He just needs 2 points. So if he takes pole position, that's championship done and dusted in the bag. Mathematically, no one can catch him. Even if there's one other driver, let's say it would have to be Jandre. If Jandre got victories, pole positions, fastest laps, all the final rounds, he wouldn't be able to beat. I think it'd be 1 point shy of a victory then. So pole position will do it.
Right, even though the Flying Bumblebee can relax, it doesn't. The work is not done until the championship's in the bag. And certainly with almost 0.6 of a second quicker than Jandre. And we've known that car to have good starts as well. There's Dinesh with those nice striped colors on the side of his car. You can recognize that a mile off as well. Somebody else joined the server quickly. But Dinesh, the car, looking really good. And he's got a good qualifying as well in 5th position. So he has come along in leaps and bounds in this Porsche Supercup category. A minute to go.
I'm just trying to figure out why the chat's not working, so sorry if I'm a little bit quiet. Unfortunately, it's just not popping up on screen.
Yeah, I'm just swapping screens so that I can have the visuals on to my right and the lap scoring monitor in front of me, because that's the most important bit. And this can be the last flying lap for Dinesh. There's a yellow in sector 1, so I'm not sure whether he will have to slow down. We'll try and see if we follow him where it is. and if it's going to be in his way as he comes through. Nice bits of banking at Zandvoort nowadays. There's the one big one that's banked after they joined the Formula One ranks again. So quite a bit of redesign to the circuit. But a great circuit it is. Coventry, where we were from, there was actually an aluminium hut above the roof of where we were commentating from, and the guy said the visibility from there, you could see the whole track virtually. But then, being next to the sea, the aluminium or dissimilar metals, there was too much rust, and it was deemed to be unsafe, so they tore it down. So we had to come down one level, and most of the commentary you do at Zandvoort is actually off a very, very good camera system that they have, almost like a race director going around the track like Dennis does for us in the sim racing, yeah? So what you see on the TVs in front of you, and there are more than one, and they are spaced so that you can actually see the cars going around the circuit and then follow them and do commentary like that. So pity that I still prefer, if you're at a circuit physically, that you can see the circuit, but yes, sometimes it's not always possible.
So Dinesh currently sitting in 5th place, coming up to the line now. This will be his last attempt. He is personal best, Sector 1, Sector 2. Can he improve? About to come across the line. He does improve by 4/10, but doesn't improve his position, unfortunately. Jason, fastest overall in the middle sector. Let's see how Jason improves. Up to 2nd. That's a good lap. Well done, Jason.
Yeah,
and Yandre just improved as well behind him. So Yandre just stole it from him in the last second there.
Right, so Dinesh in going up, or in improving his time, staying 5th. He's 1.5 seconds off the race leader, just to give you an idea. But what's going to be very, very close, if anybody can stay with Gerrit, that of course will be great. But Yandre is 1/4 second behind Gerrit. Jason Underwood is 0.6 of a second, so that's another 0.2, 0.3% of a second behind Yandre Dippenaar. Chris Collison is just over 0.1 of a second behind Jason. So 2nd, 3rd, and 4th very, very close together, about 0.4 of a second that separates them. And if they're going to be together in the race, it's going to go for some interesting racing. If they can stick to Gerrit Beekes, it's going to be even more interesting.
All right, let's jump to an ad break. We'll be back with race 1. See you shortly. Right, welcome back everyone. Of course, we are now live for race 1 of the Sim Experience Weldmech Porsche Supercup round 8, coming to you live from the Zandvoort circuit in Netherlands. This is race 1. It is a 30-minute race. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell and joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, Dennis. Good evening, everybody. Nice to be at the circuit that I know fairly well and have had the privilege of commentating 2 years. I think it was 2015, 2016, so it's a while ago already. But a great circuit it is, and great people the Dutch are as well.
Alright, so the drivers are now heading out on track for their formation lap. I'll get that up so that we know we are aware of that. I think the YouTube comments should now be popping up, so if you comment it should show up on screen hopefully. Right, so currently at the front we have Gerrit Beekers, who took pole position from Yandre Dippenaar. And Jason Underwood stole third position from his teammate Chris Collison. So Jason putting in a good time right at the end there. I think he might have surprised Chris with that one. And Dinesh Singh, a solid 5th place. Rian van der Veste is right behind him as well. So good qualifying results for some of the drivers. Sean Olivier 7th, Peter Marais 8th, solid for Peter as well. Julian Brains 9th. Andre Hildebrandt, the top of the veterans, in 10th place, just ahead of Marius van Wyk. Then it's Aaron Belder in 12th place, Donovan Vermaak in 13th, Jorg Goldbeck in 14th, and Wessel Viljoen in 15th.
As you went through the list there, I was thinking what's nice at Zandvoort is it's a fairly long straight before they get to Tarzan, but they turn 1, they really have to sort themselves out before that, because it's a winding bit and then Gerlach, and then it's almost a hairpin while everybody is still bunched up at Hoegenholz-Bocht. So that could be very interesting, but hopefully everybody gets into position between turn 1, Tarzan corner, and Hoegenholz, which is turn 3.
I think a bit of a bad night with my fingers, so I had pushed the button and it wasn't on the screen while I was talking through it. Anyway, everyone can now see the drivers' pictures and their cars and see the positions as I read them out.
Yeah, we'll get them. The captions help in the commentary as well, and certainly what we do see a lot, and that Dennis is very good at, is as we pick it up in commentary, what we call the hunter and the hunted, somebody that's ahead of somebody else but being chased. Then you can actually go in car and look back from the car that's ahead of the one that is chasing him, so you can see how those gaps come down, which makes for interesting viewing. And I think also from a spectator point of view, you can see how well your driver is doing. There the teammates are right next to each other, so as you said, maybe a surprise the one to the other, but no surprise is the flying bumblebee that is certainly untouched out in pole. The thing at Zandvoort, he's on the outside of turn 1, which I've always found, I wouldn't say strange, but it's unique. Normally you get the inside corner so that you can actually block the line. But if he can be away fast enough to actually be in front of Yandre and block the racing line, he'll probably do that anyway.
Right, as we wait for the drivers to line up, the time will start as soon as they are lined up correctly. And then we will be away. Here we go, 5 seconds to go. And we're green, green, green. Right, let's see. Great start there by Gerrit. Looks like Yandre got a good start as well. Jason falling in behind this, so top 4 kind of line astern. D Nash taking the wide line. Oh, spinning unfortunately. D Nash got it all wrong there.
Yeah, and the thing is with that, if you were to run, I think to the top, there's a tar exit out of Tarzan corner, but other than that, there's gravel. And here's the bit that I said is the banked corner that hopefully they would have sorted themselves out, which they seem to have done, except for Dinesh, who will be now at the back of the field. But he's quicker than that, so he's going to be catching up to them all. But certainly there's a gap already building up. I'm trying to see, it's Team Harder Racing, but who is it that's battling there? It's Chris Collison that's battling to stay with Jason and Yandre Dippenaar ahead of him. So Chris Collison staying behind. He's got Sean Olivier, or he had for a while, Sean Olivier all over the top of him. Rian van der Veste runs wide. He's going to keep it on the tar. He's lucky that he did there, because that's certainly not the apex of that corner. But everything stays normal. A few of the guys running wide here and there, I think just staying out of the way of everybody else.
Julian getting a bit of a tank slapper on there, and Aaron coming past him at the moment. Up inside, will Julian be able to defend? No, he thinks better of it.
Right, so certainly Arjan Belder, a nice big number to read as well, with a nice dark background. The white number works very well. And as you see, they go through the corners here, trying to build up some speed for the bank corner. There you see the carousel, so this must be Ari Lindate. There's the grandstand. And at the end of lap 1, it's Julian Brains in 11th that we're running with at the moment. In the distance ahead of him there was Arjan Belder. But Arjan again runs a little bit wide on that corner. So Julian up the inside of him again. And then we're going to get to that banked section where if you take the high road, you can actually make use of it to slingshot out of the corner. Julian takes the low bit of it. Arjan follows him around, so there's no change on there. And behind Arjan is Marius van Wyk in that pink purplish car, defies description. But certainly Jandre Dippenaar, he's not letting Gerrit Beekes out of his sight, and Jason Underwood is following them. As I said before we went into the start, second, third and fourth seem to be a little bit away from Gerrit, but of course qualifying is one thing, racing is another. But Gerrit seems to be just holding it, doing enough to keep Jandre behind him, but I can assure you that Jandre will do everything he possibly can to catch up to Gerrit Beekes and pass him. He just hopes that Jason Underwood doesn't give him too much grief from behind, because Jason's only about 0.6 of a second behind. And then you can see the number 9 on the hood of Jandre Dippenaar chasing for the best that he can. Gerrit Beekes is in the top right of your picture. That's looking back at Jandre Dippenaar. And at this stage, it looks as though Gerrit has things pretty much under control, the normal way that he runs a race. Down the main straight again to complete lap 2. And let's see who's quickest. He runs a 1:38.6, where Jandre runs a 1:38.8. Well, it's actually a 1:38.7. So and it's interesting to see on that quick lap, the best sector 1 was Jandre, the best sector 2 was Gerrit, but the best sector 3 was Chris Collison in 4th position. So if you had to combine those 3 times, that is the theoretical quickest lap as they've run it now. They'll probably get maybe a little bit quicker as the cars get lighter with the fuel burn off, but interesting to see that different guys run quick in different sections at this stage of the race around the circuit.
Some nice battles going further back as well. Rian van der Veste is challenging Sean Olivier at the moment for 5th place. Just behind them we have Peter Murray as well, so that's a 3-way battle for 5th place.
Rian number 69 trying all that he can to stay in that 6th position, chasing Sean Olivier, and behind them Peter Murray is 420. So see there again, that's the interesting thing of Zandvoort. I'm not sure whether it's driver specific. Look at this, how it's heated up for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So Jandre, Jason and Chris, but and there's Gerrit Beekes. So this is 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th that you see right in front of you, and this is what I was hoping for when I saw the qualifying times, is that Jandre could stick to Gerrit and in so doing drag Jason and Chris with him, and they've done exactly that. There's the main straight, that's the exit where you get into pit lane on the left as we're looking at the picture now. And for the drivers, it would be on the right-hand side to get off the circuit. But certainly, Gerrit Beekes isn't having a holiday. He's fighting hard. Of course, he only needs one more point, or he's had one more point for the quickest lap, and I think he'd get 2 bonus points. See, he's taken the high road, and then he will probably stay there, going out of the corner on the right-hand side of Honzurich, which, as I said before, it's more a hill than what it is a corner. And he will be doing his utmost to actually win that race. Then it's Rob Schlotemaker and the Skyflock, which, as I said, between Skyflock, I think, and Masters is the line that was drawn to separate the ordinary people from the royalty when it came to who owned what in the dunes.
Interesting seeing the different lines here where Jason loses quite a lot in the middle sector, sorry, the first sector, then starts to catch in the middle sector. And I think the final sector is quite strong as well. Just also in YouTube comments we see Stan Bezaden chatting there, so evening Stan, good to have you chatting with us and watching. Stan saying he'll be joining us again soon. He's missing the racing. It'll be awesome. We miss having you.
Yeah, it's nice. Certainly nice to have a field of 15 out tonight. We have had some, I think the guys have had work commitments and other things that have just made that they haven't made it to the circuit. But 15 guys out there. Let's see what Dean Nash has managed to do. I think he was virtually stone last, and he's managed to get up to 12th, and he's only 0.9 of a second behind Peter Murray, who's only 0.8 of a second behind Jörg Goldbeck. So you can watch Dean Nash, there he goes, stars and stripes. He's certainly come back quite strong after making an error at Tarzan Corner now. Tarzan Corner, I thought you had to be very strong to take the corner, but we've now heard the history that there was actually somebody that owned that piece of land and therefore had that corner named after him, a wild-looking large guy. But that's where it was the demise for Dinash. But he's come back nicely, and if he races, he in an orderly fashion, then Peter Murray and Jörg Goldbeck ahead of him are really in his sights now. Something to aim at. There he goes already, going up Unzerich. And is he going to make the pass? Oh, he gets it blocked on him, so he decides there's still a lot of this race left, 22.5 minutes. So you don't have to do the pass now. We can come to another spot. We might catch actually a slipstream, but notice how in avoiding contact there, just a little bit coming off the throttle, lose momentum, and you've got to make all that distance up again. So maybe ahead of him, Peter Murray challenging Jörg Goldbeck and lock up on the brakes there as well. Maybe that could be interesting later in the race.
A nice fighting at the front here. These guys are having a good battle here as well, so I think this is probably the best battle at the moment, these guys. Of course, Dinash is working his way through the field, which is always entertaining. But Peter's making his car as wide as possible to keep Dinash behind him while trying to get past Jorg in front of him. So this is very interesting.
Somebody had a quick comment on the best tasting Prosecco is off the top step. I tell you what, the joys of being commentator, not here at Zandvoort, but at Kyalami in the World Superbike days, I got covered in the stuff and it's sticky and it smells. So they had amongst the World Superbikes, they of course run 2 races on a race day. They had a gentleman's agreement that you don't spray each other full of the stuff in race 1.
Oh, sorry, Button, look at Dinash here, taking 2 guys here. Up the inside, yeah. Will he keep it on the road? And slightly wide. Peter going up the inside, doing the cutback.
And this is the interesting bit where the changes of direction and then the banking of the Dinash. You've got to now slow down, just get it back on the road. He actually did well to get it on the road fairly straight. And then he runs in front of, who is he in front of Donovan? So, but very, very lucky there. I thought the back end is going to step out. Hard work done to no avail.
Nice driving between Peter and Dinash there, giving each other space. Unfortunately, Dinash just getting slightly wide, getting onto the dirt.
Yeah, the off the racing line at that section of the circuit is unforgiving. It certainly has a very clean line because the guys come through on the inside of the circuit. And if you drift out wide, then you're going to be on the marbles and you're going to lose grip. And that's exactly what happened to Dinash.
Right, so some other battles. We have Sean Olivier is now behind Rian van der Westhuizen. In fact, I think it was that way before. I might have missed it. If I have, apologies. But Sean coming back at Rian. Getting a good drive. Let's see, can he make the move? Here he comes.
Fighting a good fight up into a 6th position. And even though the straight is nice long, there's the tarmac that I said that came as a result of the Formula 1 changes. They didn't want Formula 1 cars going into the gravel. And in the years that I was at Zandvoort, as I said, 2015, 2016, there was no tar going up the hill. It was all gravel, and the idea was to slow the cars down. But with Formula 1 cars, as soon as they go into the gravel, then they are no longer participants in the race. And I think if we go past there again, you'll see that it actually has a tar roadway coming round towards turn number 2. So if you do run off the circuit, you can actually come back and not incur any damage unless you go off at such a speed that you do hit the barrier. But here we have Rian van der Westhuizen, you see, just putting a wheel off on the dirt. So that might be Sean Olivier will have that in sight, and he will know where there's potentially a weak spot where he can attack. having seen that. So drivers like to suss each other out. If you're following and you're trying to take that position, you will know where you can potentially mount a charge and get back at the driver in front of you.
All right, looking very, very defensive for Rian, and Sean looks like he just loses a little bit in the middle sector as well. I'm not sure if the defense of Rian sort of made him just sort of fall back a bit, just get himself all in order. Lost my train of thought there, my words. But yeah, maybe it's just gathering himself. That's what I was trying to say. Is just maybe pull back, gather yourself, get your momentum back, and then come back. Because the main thing with racing is you need to have momentum. Sometimes it's very hard if the momentum gets broken to make a pass. And look how quick he catches on the brakes here.
I think that's a drift that you see through there now in front of him. So potentially that's why he's pushing, and it's a very psychological thing. If you've got somebody chasing you, then I wouldn't say that you start thinking defensively, but you're certainly not running your normal race. Something in the back of mind or in the rearview mirrors that you can see just makes you change your line slightly. There you can see them using the curbing, and the curbing is quite forgiving on that particular corner. So you see also around the circuit they have cranes, which are of course a very fast and efficient method of removing a car from the circuit. I'm not so sure that it'll work so well with the Porsches, but it's there for the Formula Ones, that you can get the car hooked up and hoisted and off the circuit so as to get rid of the safety car, virtual safety car, or waved yellows in the sector, depending how serious the car is and where it is stranded.
So will Sean make a move here into the chicane, or possibly into the final corner, or will it be into turn one? I think out of Laurendijk it's probably not so easy to make a pass. You can maybe just hold there, try and get a good drive out of Laurendijk so that you can make a lunge into turn one.
Yeah, Hans the chicane, and then the corner that has no name at the moment, turn 13, used to be Kumo, which is a tyre manufacturer. That's important, as we said, to get the speed through Arie Luyendyk, and that determines your speed into the main straight. But looks like these Porsches don't give away too much for slipstreaming, even though there's a fairly nice long straight at Zandvoort. Tarzan corner, and there you can see right at the top there's a bit of tar that you can actually get back to the circuit, and that you can join there on the left. So that's actually something new. Well, they've been racing at Zandvoort a few years already, but that's in addition to Zandvoort, which I think is a very good one.
They used it this year, actually, in the Zandvoort race. The drivers in the wet conditions went right up to the barrier there.
Yes.
I think it was Norris and one of the other drivers that actually made use of that road.
Yeah, so the fact that somebody had thought about it does help for the racing specifically. And I think for these cars as well, although you should stay on the track in conditions as good as these, you shouldn't be going up Tarzan corner. You should be on the brakes. But then we've seen that Dinesh has had a moment as well. So mistakes happen, but certainly what is going on here is a very, very interesting battle that Sean Olivier from Thorax Racing is trying his best to catch Van der Westhuizen ahead of him, but not sure if that's going to come to play now. But there's a car in the gravel. Just missed who that was.
I think that was Wessel Viljoen that went off, because it looked like it was Donovan and Wessel very close on track. So I came to the action and one was in the gravel. So I'm not sure if something happened there.
Right, let's have a look for where they are. Donovan is in 12th, and Spazito Bandito Wessel Viljoen, number 2. He's in 13th, so he must be back on circuit then. Although we did see an unlucky a DNF for Arjan Belder. Now, I'm not sure whether that's again a disconnect or whether he actually had a big off. But bad news for Arjan. I think we've seen him have a DNF in previous races in this series this year. So I'm not sure whether he has network problems. But certainly, this is the race for second and third. Jan-Ray Dippenaar ahead of Jason Underwood. Comments are coming thick and fast that Gerrit can actually go on holiday. And I tell you what, Gerrit doesn't seem to be the type of guy that would relax and go on holiday. He's racing for all he's worth. But at least we have a nice battle on for first, second, third. Chris Collison seems to be losing. If you look at the last laps, actually no. The best lap times, they all seem to be the same. But Chris Collison had a good last lap, but he's lost distance to the first three guys at some point and is now trying to make it back. So we'll have to wait and see. But great racing here from Jason Underwood, putting Jandre Dippenaar under pressure. But Jandre seems to be running very well and not being too threatened by Jason, because he's staying right there behind Gerrit Beukes. If I say right there, it's 0.8 of a second. Here they come out of Arie Luyendyk into the straight again, and somebody like Jason, who will have two cars ahead of him, breaking the air and making it easier for him. He looks at the inside. I don't think he was close enough to try the lunge. Right, comment comes that no holiday, Gerrit is going to run this all the way to the end, and certainly he is doing so. If we have a look at the last lap, Gerrit a 40.1, Jandre Dippenaar a 39.6, and Jason Underwood a 39.3. So they are certainly going at Gerrit. Gerrit is not, it's within half a second, the last lap, that Jandre Dippenaar was quicker than Gerrit. So you can see that second and third, they're right there, and here comes Chris Collison as well in fourth position. And it's nice to see four cars so close to each other on the track, and I think they are trying their utmost to make life difficult for Gerrit Beukes, but he seems to be taking it all in his stride.
I see a comment there from Arjen Belder as well, saying go Gerrit, and then also letting us know that he got hit off and he had too much damage, so he couldn't continue.
Oh, that's a pity. Hopefully Arjan will get it all fixed and be back for race 2, and then we can have him going as well. So another DNF2 vessel for Yun, Spazito Bandito. Not sure where that happened and why. But so we have 13 competitors still active in this race, and Peter Murray is in that 13th position, Dinesh ahead of him. Now Dinesh has got 3-4 seconds to Donovan Vermaak, and if you look at the lap times, then it looks as though Dinesh is fractionally 0.2 of a second quicker than Donovan, but with that gap, I'm not sure that it's going to be much of a difference with 11 and a half minutes still to run.
Yeah, lap times are too similar at the moment. I mean, a couple of tenths is not enough.
No.
But we'll see. There is a bit of a battle going on in front with Donovan and Jorg, so maybe if that battle, which we can go to now just here, if that slows them down slightly, then he might be able to pick up 2 more places.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And always, as we've said before, if there's a battle going on ahead of you, 2 cars fighting for position, and you can just stay with them, then the chances are that they'll slow each other up, and you might have the benefit of the banking of that Arie Luyendyk corner. It must be such fun in a car like this, which is heavy and wants to go to the outside, and then you've got banking. Oh, is he up close? No,
that was close.
Yeah, certainly has made his intentions known, and it makes for exciting racing. If you're looking Donovan Vermaak, and this is a corner, another bank corner there to the right, you can see the building. You can actually, as a commentator, the toilets are over there, so you can actually see that corner out of the toilet, and you're like right on top of it. Different perspective, but too much information. But it's a fun corner, and now that it's been more banked, it seems to be even a more fun corner. And I'm trying to think which formula it was where the guys used to race leather caps and sitting in a single seater. I think it was the Formula Junior 500cc single seaters, and when they go around that corner, they stick an arm out and actually hold onto the outside of the bottom of the car to keep them into the car. There's a nice slide going on there. Dinesh is certainly making life very difficult for Jörg Goldbeck. So Jörg is putting the back end out, and that of course will chew the tires and slow the car down. Dinesh is going to think about putting it inside here. Nah. Was it? No. So here comes the chicane bit, and there's double changes of direction. So you've got to really think about where you're going to be, not necessarily going in here, but where you're going to be the corner thereafter, and that's where Dinesh got it right. I think he thought that out 2 corners ago, got it totally wrong, and he's facing the wrong direction. He's now got to spin it round without going into the barrier, and well driven by Dinesh. here we have Chris Collison still trying to make life difficult, but it looks as though Jason Underwood in that second position. Where is Yandre and why is he there?
Yes, that's a good question. What has happened to Yandre?
Yeah, Yandre is down to fourth. Jason and Chris have got past him. So now Yandre Dippenaar, the PZN panel beaters car, number 9, is in fourth position. I just looked and I thought, but that's not right. So, he's battling with, there must be damage or something that's gone off the tires maybe. I'm not sure what setup he's got at all. But certainly all on his own, he got the entrance into or under braking and turning into the corner. He got that completely wrong. Now, I don't know whether that is accident damage or whether that happened as a result of the fact that the tires are gone, because we are quite far into the race with only 8 minutes to go. The car seems fine in a straight line, but that could be very deceiving. Let's see what he does into Tarzan.
Yeah, I'm just looking back to see if I can find maybe what actually happened.
Yeah, coming out of Tarzan corner, he got the back end to step out. So maybe a little bit early on the throttle. So he powers it up and the back end of the car slides, and maybe the tires aren't cooperating. There's a bit of drifting going on through that corner as well. So it looks as though he is battling with grip, and whether that is mechanical grip or whether it's a wing setting. But we could certainly see through Hoegenholz as he went up Hunsrug on the way down to Rob Slotemaker. Well, there he ends up going into the gravel again, all on his own. So
that's the replay.
That's the replay. So is that where he actually made the mistake?
Now he has gone off again and lost his rear wing. So that's not good luck for Yandre.
Yeah, without the rear wing, that's almost, he'll probably try and drive it around for 7 minutes, but then everybody's going to be gobbling him up because there is very little grip at the back, and that'll mean that he has to drive very slowly to get through the corners, because there are some, if you think of Arie Luyendyk, that now changes for him completely, because he can't get to speed through Arie Luyendyk, otherwise he's just going to be out of the corner. And if you look how Jason takes this corner and comes out of the banking and then into the straight where it goes flat again, Yandre without a wing is certainly going to battle there.
Sean is going to be caught off guard by the lack of grip that Yandre's got. Yandre's actually carrying good speed. Ooh, drifting as he requires the downforce there and doesn't have it.
Yeah, that'll slow him down. He's going to get out of the way, which is the right thing to do. And I think he's realized that he can't keep Sean Olivier away.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's Tarzan corner. If you're on the brakes and there's no downforce, then it's really, really bad for cars that rely on the wing actually pushing the car down onto the track. And who's the next one? Rian van der Westhuizen, that's coming up to him now. And there's somebody sideways. Who was that went a very scenic route through the chicane there?
So, it was Sean, was it Sean?
Because if it was, he's down to 6th now. He must have done that all on his own. He's caught up to them again. So he must be fuming with himself, and he passes quite easily, does Sean. He passes Rian van der Westhuizen. He's going to get past Yandre Dippenaar as well. Oh, there's a nudge. There's another nudge. So certainly all happening out there. But Yandre Dippenaar, Rian van der Westhuizen, and then Sean Olivier. So Sean Olivier goes wide of the circuit. Is that going to allow Rian van der Westhuizen past? Not yet, but very close. The corner goes away from him, so that'll be to his disadvantage. He can't turn in. The guy's right there next to you. So there certainly is some tough racing. Sean Olivier is in the number 137. That I call it the pinky purple car, but a lock up on the brakes as well, and chasing very hard Rian van der Westhuizen. Now this will mean, this is Arie Luyendyk as they come out into the straight, and maybe Rian van der Westhuizen is close enough to mount a charge into Tarzan corner. I think he just isn't close enough. So Yandre is doing a demon job staying in 6th position without a rear wing, with 4.5 minutes to go or thereabouts. And this circuit, a lap is 1 minute 40 about for the slower cars. Gerrit Beekers has the quickest lap time, so more points for him there, 138.553. And certainly that is, 0.2 of a second quicker than Jason Underwood. And about the same. Jason and Chris have much the same fastest laps. It differs in the hundredths of a second. So at this stage, the battle that's on is Rian van Westhuizen trying to get at Sean Olivier.
I think Yandre has gone off again. Now down to 7th place because of it.
Oh, what a nightmare of a race. If you were running so well in that second position, and then also had good speed, but then he has a change coming here that's very wide. But it looks as though Sean Olivier has managed to hold on to that position. Maybe Rian van Westhuizen decided it's not the time and the place to try and challenge there, because when he comes back, he might just be knocked off the circuit. But certainly, the cars are racing for every inch of the road, metric, every centimetre of the road, and nothing given or asked by the drivers. Relinedijk again straight, but nowhere near close enough to mount a challenge.
One thing I noticed on the last lap, Rian seemed to catch quite a lot out of Relinedijk, and then Sean pulled away on the straight, so perhaps Sean is running lower wing, that's why he's fast on the straight and slower out of Relinedijk.
It will also be an explanation that he is not as quick in the twisty bits, but certainly once he gets to the straight, because in the twisty bits you need, well, especially the ones that are fast, you need the downforce to actually get the grip through the corner. But if you have less downforce down the straight, then of course you are going to have the better top end.
This is a nice battle. Rian must be absolutely loving this. Sean's probably cursing at this point. I'm sure not as much as Yandre though.
Yeah, Yandre, where is he dropped to? He's in 8th position now. And 5 seconds behind him is Andre Hildebrandt. And if you look at the lap times, Andre Hildebrandt, the last lap, Andre should be on top of him pretty quickly. He's just, as I say, racing for survival, and to say he actually completed the race. It would be interesting if they brought out these cars and put no wing onto them at all and see how well the guys would adapt. Because the car comes out, the production model comes out with a slight wing on it, and then they're going to put these big racing wings onto it. So certainly Andre Hildebrandt, Donovan Vermaak and Dinesh Singh, those are the guys that are chasing. Oh, Donovan, that belongs to the gardener. You don't want to be in that section there. So he brings it back onto the road. He slowed it right down, and he can still, if things go well, rejoin the battle.
So many things happening here. Now Dinesh has got another opportunity to probably get top 10 now.
Yeah, that will be into the points as well. I think we get points. How far down? Dennis, help me.
Down to, that's a good question, 10th place.
Yeah, so I was thinking that he's racing for points here. Of course, Gerrit Beekers is racing for the win. He just couldn't give a hoot about anybody else. Jason Underwood is 5 seconds behind him. So the car you see there is not the car in second position. That's somebody that's been lapped. So yeah, more comments coming to say how Gerrit is in control of the race, and he certainly is, with Jason 5 seconds behind him and Chris Collison a further 11 seconds behind Jason Underwood. So I'm not sure whether they potentially had to take evasive action when Yandre had his moment, or they were in the wrong place at the right time to be involved with that. But Gerrit Beekers is racing, let's see.
I thought this was, the button. I thought that would have been the last lap, but he actually got across the line just in time.
Yeah,
so this is now the last lap.
Yeah, he was actually just before 1,000 when the time clicked down to 0. So they're going to get one more lap in. But yeah, as I said, the gap was 5 seconds. It's now 5.7. I think Jason and Chris have just realized there's nothing they can do about it. Where else are the guys fairly close? There's a second between Donovan, 1.7 second between Donovan and Dinesh, and then there was under a second, but it's gone up now that Yandre has just been passed by Dinesh, so that explains why that has happened. So Yandre finds himself in 11th position now, and he has a lead of 35 seconds ahead of Jörg Goldbeck. So Jan will finish the race, but certainly not the way that he would have hoped to have done.
Right, so our leader coming across the final sector. Let's just follow him up to the finish.
He's had a demon race and certainly unchallenged. There was nobody to touch him. They were close for quite a while, but not for long enough. Is this the Hans Ernst corner? I just need to relocate myself on the circuit.
Before Laurendijk.
Yeah, so then they come through what used to be known as Kumo, but it's now turned 13. As we said before, it's the one that sets you up. Fari Laurendijk, and he's been set up perfectly the whole race. He doesn't even have a millimeter of drift. He just goes to the extreme outside of the corner and gets a checkered flag.
Fantastic race, and of course he is our champion as a result of his qualifying and race. Jason taking a superb second, Chris will come across in third, so 2 and 3 for Team Harder Racing, so they will take the last 2 podium positions for race 1.
We sound like a stuck record, but once again, a full house for Gerrit Beekers. Quickest, well, first of all, pole position, race win, and the quickest lap.
Great race for Dean Ash as well. Good recovery, as pointed out there by Stan.
Yeah, from virtually nowhere back to 10th position. So, but it just goes, you've got to stay on the circuit to get good positions. Here's Rian van der Westhuizen for a very creditable 5th position. Julian.
Without us really noticing, Julian snuck up to 6th place with all the commotion going on, guys going off, problems with rear wings and all the action happening. He's worked his way up from just outside the top 10 up to 6, so that was also a very good drive.
You've got to be in it to win it, so you've got to be there right at the end behind Julian Marius van Wyk in that purple people eater. Look at this battle come across the line. Is that Andre Hindelbrand, Donovan Vermaak and Dinesh Singh? Oh, he has a slide on. Without a rear wing like that, you can really showboat, but it shows incredible skill by Jan Ray to come through that corner that fast and still be in control of the car. So it was very sideways, and yes, he did only finish in 11th position, but hats off to him for staying in the race all the way to the end.
All right, well, that's it for race 1. We'll be back shortly after an ad break and resetting the server and the grid. So we'll see you shortly, probably about 5 or maybe 10 minutes. So hang around, we'll be back for race 2.
Until then.
welcome back everyone. We are now live for race 2 of the Sim Experience South Africa Weldmech Porsche Supercup round 8, coming to you live from the Zandvoort circuit in the Netherlands. This is race 2, another 30-minute race. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean, and welcome back for race 2.
All right, we certainly do hope that it's a good race that we did see in race 1. Better for some than for others, but certainly we had action throughout, except for Gerrit, who disappeared into the sunset. Well, there was no sunset, but he was challenged initially. Let's hope they can get back at him again and repeat the challenge. But certainly a race that down the middle and even the back end of the field gave us great excitement throughout.
Yeah, and of course Gerrit has won the championship, so now it's no restrictions. Drivers can just drive as they need to drive as hard as they want to drive without any fear of making mistakes. Sometimes where you see the drivers actually have their best races where they don't have that stress of the championship on their shoulders. I don't think Gerrit was taking it easy in that last race. Certainly hope not for the others, but we'll see in this race. But he certainly did everything he needed to do to take the championship, so congratulations. Definitely a worthy champion.
Yeah, it's been fun calling him the Flying Bumblebee, and nice to see that him and his team have picked up on it. And we actually haven't had the chance of looking out the front of his car because he's never had to chase anybody. But yes, on the bonnet there is a very yellow bumblebee stuck on the bonnet. So one of the nicknames that has stuck around with him. The car just lends itself to it.
Yeah, I think it's just the right colors for a bumblebee. That's the first thing that most people will think of when they see those colors.
Yeah.
I guess there might be someone that thinks of Mr. Bean. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the bumblebee, there is the fastest bumblebee in South Africa.
Right. And showing everybody the way around at Zandvoort. This is the final corner, Ari Lyndate, but not anywhere near the speed that he takes it in race trim. There goes Jan Dippenaar, he's got it all fixed up. Jason Underwood, a little bit further back, Chris Collison, and Dinesh. Stick to the black stuff, my man, stick to the black stuff.
Dinesh had a pretty amazing result, so I think if he keeps it on the road this time, he might have his best result of the season.
Bringing information into the grid slots. Is that real? That's sort of looking at going to the middle of the road on the start.
It is. I think in his slot, the timer will, I'm sure, be starting, and it has actually started.
Yeah. And away they go. Yeah, he has gone to the middle of the road and then sort of brings it back again. Oh, Gerrit hasn't had a good start.
Maybe he's decided he'll just take it easy this one. Or have a bit of fun, go from the back to the front. That should be entertaining.
Let's see where he does.
Put him away into the wall. Oh dear.
As I said in the first race, you hope that everybody's got themselves sorted out between Tarzan corner, and I think that's actually turn 3, because you go through Tarzan, then Gerlach, and that's where that happened, and then through Hugenholzbocht, which is that banked left-hander hairpin, before you go over the hill down towards Rob Schlootemaker, and then Scheiflak. But certainly they didn't have it all sorted out, and there were cars into the barrier early in this race already.
Ryan van der Veste having a really, really good start. I mean, third place at the moment, challenging at the moment for second place.
Yeah, it's making life difficult for Jason Underwood, and Jason is chasing, if I can get my tongue and my brain in the same gear, Jason chasing Jan-Ray Dippenaar. Let's see what Gerrit Beekes is 2.5 seconds behind Jörg Goldbeck. So he's gone all the way back to 14th position, and it looks as though Wessel Viljoen hasn't restarted the race.
Oh dear. He was in the service, or maybe he just went for a toilet break and didn't make it in time or something.
Yeah. So Gerrit Beekes in 14th, he'll be fighting, I think it's 8 seconds behind at this stage. and he's already got a purple in sector 2. Jandre has the purple in sector 1. Gerrit has the purple in sector 2. And let's see who's going to be the quickest in sector 3. Believe it or not, that was Chris Collison. So 3 different riders again making up the quickest sector times. Jandre Dippenaar has the fastest time overall. He has, of course, that. Well, there's a few reasons. He's quick, first of all, and secondly, doesn't have to contend with any traffic ahead of him, so he can just let it run. So he does a 46.846, but it's the start lap. I think in race 1 we were down to 1 minute 38, if memory serves me correctly. So these 3, Chris Collison certainly has Rian van der Westhuizen and Sean Olivier right there with him. Now, Sean Olivier and Rian van der Westhuizen had a few battles in race 1. So let's see if this is going to be repeat again. And ahead of them is a nice view of Jason Underwood and Jandre Dippenaar. So the slide. Yeah, Rian just couldn't keep the back end in line, and the car ended up pointing in the wrong direction, but he's got it back again. But he would have lost a bit of momentum there and the position. And now he will have to be fighting Julian Brains, Dean Ashsing, and Andre Hildebrand pretty soon, if they can keep those 3 cars together. So a very tight pack at this stage of the race. And let's see, there's Julian's car. You can recognize that as well. Nice, the green livery. There's the stars and stripes on Dean Ash's car, also easy to recognize. And Marius van Wyk, that purple color. I knew a professor at Pretoria, at Tuks University, that said purple isn't a color. There's a DNF for Peter Murray, and we can see why. He just went straight off in front end into the barrier. So we now are down to 13, and where Gerrit is up to 10th with a purple in sector 1. So he's on the charge, and I think he's doing this, as you said, maybe just to make life interesting for himself, to see what he can do from the back of the field.
According to Samir, his gear shift didn't work. Oh, we see Donovan in the barrier there as well. Apparently his gear shift didn't work at the start, so he couldn't get the car into gear. That's why he was slow off the line.
Was that a problem that Jason or Chris had earlier in the season?
I think it was also Gerrit at one of the other rounds had that problem, but it wasn't as severe as this. In fact, it was Chris. Chris also had the problem. You're right. Sorry, yes.
So there, I think somebody was off. Yeah, there somebody comes back again, and I think that might be Jörg.
It's Arjan.
Arjan. So Arjan Belder, and gets it nicely back. So using the runoff area well, although you don't want to be in the runoff area because you've got to get right all the way off the throttle. There's a slide ahead of Donovan, who's running there. Arjan Belder gets the car sideways through the corner and then collects it again. But certainly not the fastest line. Looks spectacular to the spectators, but not the fastest way of going through the circuit.
Stan asking who was on the shoulder of the orange car. That would be Peter Murray. He went off there.
Yeah. So that's the DNFs that we have, and it's got Wessel Viljoen still in the race, but 2 laps down. But I then doubt that Wessel actually got going. Here's Donovan Vermaak pushing hard to catch up to Arjan Belder.
This, believe it or not, is the battle for first place.
Yes, I was going to say there's the lead, and that's the bank corner. Certainly is a nice banking that they've added to Hoegenholzbocht, and then it goes over the hill, Hunzerich, down to Rob Slootmaker, which is also not really much of a corner. The first corner is really the right-hander, which is Geevlak, which is the one they're in now, coming to, there it is. And then Masters Corner, again right-hander. Turn without a name is turn number 9, also almost a hairpin right. And then turn 10 is CM.com, that's a hairpin left almost.
Good start as well for Andre Hildebrand, currently in 7th place. He is fighting, as we see, Gerrit come flying past him. He's currently fighting for the veterans, so he's in a solid position at the moment. Morris is in 9th, almost 4.5 seconds behind him.
This is a nice, fairly long straight bit before they run into the chicane at Hans Ernst. So that'll be a right-left combination. The right is about a 90 degree, the left is a little bit more open, and then it's up to turn 13 with no name, which sets you up for Arie Luyendyk.
And here comes the battle for first place. Looks like Jason's setting up Yandere.
Yeah, certainly a tight race for first, second, third, and fourth, and then a little bit further back, 5, 6, 7 is potentially going to be challenging as well. Julian Brains, Dean Ashley, Gerrit Beekes are 5th, 6th, and 7th. Here's the front four: Yandere Dippenaar, Jason Underwood, Chris Collison, and Sean Olivier, believe it or not, has kept it all together and is running with the potential podium finishes for this race, but he's going to be there to challenge them. And what else is there that I can say that he's doing quite well? His lap times are also quicker. His last lap better than a 1 minute 40, and competitive with the lap time of Yandere Dippenaar. So where's Gerrit Beekes up to 6th already with the best lap time for the race, the quickest sector 1 and the quickest sector 3 in that lap. So he runs a 1 minute 38.26. So you'll see Gerrit, how far is he back? He's only 0.8 of a second behind Julian Brains. So if you watch out for the green car of Julian Brains, you'll see the Flying Bumblebee right there with him or passing.
And he's only 5 seconds or 5.2 seconds off the lead. So Gerrit can still win this.
Yeah, with 22 seconds to go and the pace that he's showing, it certainly is now showing, and a lockup by Julian. And that's going to help Gerrit's cause, because he can be now right at Julian and make him even more nervous. What did we get last week? Sting like a butterfly. No, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Muhammad Ali's quote. So yeah, there he goes on the banking. Does he have the slipstream? Is he going to look up the inside? Yes, he is. That car is just so settled. Both cars had a good exit, Julian less so, and there goes the flying. We get to see the bonnet. Thanks. Thanks for that, Dennis. We actually got to see the bonnet of the Flying Bumblebee.
I meant to change to it sooner. I should have been sooner on it. We'll get it for the next one.
No problem. But so that means Gerrit Beekes is now up into 5th position. He's 2.5 seconds behind Sean Olivier. And Sean Olivier is running with the front 4 cars. So there's the Flying Bumblebee. You can't miss it. So a nice color scheme that he's got on the car. So there you can see the guys that he's aiming at. Those are the guys that he's got to catch. That's Sean Olivier in the orange car. Runs with, I've got to think very quickly, Thorax Racing.
Yes, Thorax Racing, yes.
Yeah. So, and is it his teammate that went into the barrier?
No, his teammate's not here tonight. His teammate is Monet Deploy, who's actually, I think, in America at the moment. He's head off there for 2 weeks or so, so he'll be missing this round and the next.
Okay, I wouldn't know whether I'm jealous or not. To be honest, I think America is just so vast that to make it a travel destination is just so difficult. Not being negative, but just factual. But certainly Team Harder Racing, Jason Underwood, Chris Collison, they're still in that battle. They are losing a little bit of touch with Yandere Dippenaar. It's 3/4 of a second now that Yandere is in the lead. But Gerrit Beekes 1.5 seconds away from Sean Olivier. And the last lap 139.25. Sean Olivier 139.57. So in hundredths of a second catching. Look at this train coming along. Jason Underwood in 2nd position behind PZN panel beaters Yandere Dippenaar there. There's the section of track that I've explained so many times already. It curves away, slight banking to the right, and then that sharp banking to the left. And notice that they take the 2 separate lines, but they seem to have the same exit speeds, whichever line they take. So Jason Underwood is pushing hard, and it's half a second that he is behind Yandere Dippenaar. Glad to see that Yandere is up to speed. Gerrit in 5th position, now a second behind Sean Olivier. So he's got him in sight. You can see it very quickly that he catches up to him. And this race has still got 19 minutes to run. And let's do some mental arithmetic. 1, 2, 3. He must be about 4 or 5 seconds behind the race leader. So Gerrit is pushing really hard.
4.4 actually, so he's closed the gap by a second in the last lap and a half.
Hey, my brains is not too my phone. That was just quick. Looking at the interval between drivers, I thought that was just over 4, somewhere approaching 5. But I think Gerrit will still not take any risks. He knows he's got the speed. He's just got to get to the right portion of the track to get the challenge done and pass Sean Olivier. It might be out of Ari Lindake, who knows. because he's used that once before as a passing position. He just has to turn with no name, previously known as Kumo, now turn 13. If he can get the Sessi there, he's already forcing an error on Sean Olivier, puts the left hand of the car on the dirt, and that's not the optimal setting to have. Here we have the Bumblebee looking forward at the car of Sean Olivier. Now he's going to put it up the inside. There's one wheel and on the brakes. Yeah, lock up on the brakes, but I wouldn't say it's a suicide move, but there was a lock up on the brakes. So he's going to have teeth chattering for the rest of the race, but neatly done. Gerrit Beekes has 2.2 seconds to go to catch Chris Collison.
Oh, I just realized I didn't have the tower there with all the positions. I hadn't enabled that. Sorry about that.
No. And that's what we have a lap scoring monitor for. It's actually at the most important screen in motorsport commentary is the lap scoring monitor, because you can see what's happening and where people are and relative to each other. But we should soon see out of the front of Gerrit Beekes' car one of the Team Harder Racing cars, and there it is. Well done to the cameraman. Dennis also switching as we speak, and that's the car of Chris Collison that he's got to aim at now, and he's doing so very quickly. Let's see the last lap times. Chris Collison 1:39.56, Gerrit Beekes 1:39.5. But that's of course a lap ago when they crossed for the monitoring. Now that he has him in sight, there's a bit of lockup on the inside. We've mentioned this before as well. If you're turning right, then the right-hand wheels on a car are a little bit lighter, and if you're still on the brakes when turning into the corner, then the tendency for them to lock up is a natural one. You will see that it didn't leave any black lines because the tire is very light. Here they come into Arie Luyendyk, and the Bumblebee is on a mission up into fourth, and something to aim at going down the straight. The grandstand, the medical facility there on the right, they have a very, very well. If you have a Formula One race, then obviously you do have a very good medical facility. But back in the day that I was there, I'd noticed it then already. Very good press room as well. And certainly a lovely circuit to visit. I was privileged because I had access to go anywhere and speak to anybody. So that's what made Zandvoort such a great experience for me. I think it's a great experience for Gerrit Beekes. If one considers where he's come from, the gap is down to 1.4 seconds now between himself and Chris Collison. But look,
Jason really threatening Yandre, yeah.
Yes, and the Team Harder Racing guys are really the one is attacking, and I think Chris Collison will soon be defending. Chris is 2.5 seconds behind his teammate Jason, so I don't think he's going to make Jason's life too difficult at all. But Andre Dippenaar is very aware of Jason Underwood's car right there behind him.
Yeah, Gerrit has kind of stabilized the gap between himself and Chris now. It's about a second, so maybe it's just pacing themselves. There's still 15 minutes left to go.
Yeah, if you listen to these guys in post-race interviews, then they say, I think it's in the first 10 minutes, then the tyres are gone, and thereafter it becomes management of the tyre. So Gerrit, having had to push hard to get through the field up to fourth position, maybe he's doing a bit of tyre management and consolidation of where he is. And certainly if he were to get up to third, then he'd still be on the podium. But look at Jason. Jason is certainly making Yandre take defensive lines all over the place. And certainly the corners that they're on at the moment, Galagbocht, Hoegenholz, and then they go, this is Hoegenholz that they go through now, the banked left-hander over the top of Hunzerich, named after Mr. Hunz with an S, and then over Rob Slotemakerbocht, which is a sweeping corner, not much noteworthy. It's Scheiflak, the right-hander, which is the next corner of note. They go through it. There it is to the right. And then they get to Masters, which is another right. There's quite a lot of rights in this section of the circuit. Through Masters, then you go to turn 9, which has no name. It's also to the right, almost a hairpin. Lock up there, which is to the benefit of Gerrit. Now you see the front four again, all in the same picture. And I've sort of lost trend. This is going to be going down if they're in a left-hander. That's turn 10, which is CM.com corner. There's the CM.com banner. So you can see they are the new sponsors, as it were, the main sponsors of the circuit, and have the naming rights to the circuit. This is the chicane at Hans Ernst. And then turn 13 with no name will be the one next, which sets them up for Ari Leyendijk.
Of course, CM is Cooler Master, and I'm pretty sure there'll be someone in our grid that is using Cooler Master products. So thankful to have Cooler Master providing the products that they do for us and actually sponsoring motorsport as well.
Now there you see them again on that's the, shall I say, the arch that contains the light. Oh, Gerrit will like talking about the light. So what I was going to say, that arch has the lights for the start, and I think it also has an indicator counting down the laps. But Gerrit Beukes is counting down the laps, and he's counting down the competitors in front of him. But Jason Underwood would like to count down Jandre Dippenaar. So it just touches a wheel off the dirt. But first and second, very, very close in this race.
Comment about Dinesh. Dinesh currently in 7th place. Actually, running very, very high there. Get away with that thanks to the banking. Good race weekend for Dinesh. Good pace as he had last week. Unfortunately, race 1 just kind of lost out at the end, but good race nonetheless.
Had a good recovery in race 1 if you consider what did happen to him. Gerrit Beukes now 0.4 of a second behind Chris Collison. Chris has lost distance to Jason. He's about 3.6 seconds behind Jason, and Jason only less than half a second behind Jandre Dippenaar. So here you see Jandre and Jason. That's the battle for first and second, and it's being fought all the way. And I think towards the end, whoever's managed their tyres, there's 3rd and 4th coming up behind them now. Chris Collison and Gerrit Beukes. And a little bit further back, Sean Olivier. Running a little bit of a lonely race is Sean, because he's over 2 seconds behind Gerrit Beukes, and Julian Brains behind him is more than 3 seconds. That's Julian going through. So Julian running a rock solid 6th position. I think he was around about 6th in race 1 as well. So a good race for him, or race meet for him overall. So Julian Baines going very, very well. Sean Olivier in 5th position ahead of him, but as we said, a little bit isolated. He doesn't have to defend, he has nothing to attack. So he's just testing himself at the moment, and in doing so, as I said again, the corner turns left, so the left-hand side of the car will be a little bit light. Gerrit Beukes seems to be a little bit closer to Chris Collison than he was a while ago, so it's 0.2 of a second now.
Oh, very sideways. I think he just clipped the grass or something there.
Yeah, certainly, definitely saw a twitch there. But he's also going to, that will mean Chris Collison there using a little bit too much of the curbing, throws the car to the outside, he puts the nose up on the inside, locks it up on the brakes, and he gets his wheels on the curbing. So reset, back to normal, fight it all over again. Great battle that's happening here for 3rd and 4th position.
Of course, we've got the battle at the front still happening, so that seems to be going all the way. 10 minutes left to go. It's 2/3 of the race done already.
I think these guys will forget about survival mode. This is for honor and glory. 1st and 2nd is the one set, and 3rd and 4th is the other set. And Gerrit Beukes, I think, has, if he were to end here, he certainly proved a point that he is a noteworthy racer, even if he has a terrible start and is unable to select the gear. He decides, well, Chris decides to go low, Gerrit decides to go high. Let's see who it works for. They're neck and neck over the finish line, although Chris has got better position into the corner. It's an undercut, and Gerrit takes it back from him. Now it's, of course, running the defensive lines through the next corners that are coming up. Those are Gerlachbocht. Yeah, they get out of Gerlach, then it's into Hoegenholz. And there goes the Bumblebee up on the high end of the hill. There's a back marker, I think, coming up now. The back marker is nicely out of the way. Well done, sir. And the next corner's running into Rob Slotemaker. Not much of a corner. It's more of a sweep. And I don't think it'll bother the race drivers too much. So Gerrit Beukes on the podium for the race, and definitely on the podium for the race day. Just so that we clarify what I've just said, they combine the points achieved in race 1 and in race 2 to determine who's on the podium for the day. And Gerrit, in having finished 1st and at the moment running in 3rd, has a very good chance of actually winning it, because we see Jandre Dippenaar in P1, and he was 10th or 11th, I think, in first race. So he was out of the points completely. So he's also racing to prove a point. that he can actually win the race. So what you see there, for instance, you did see first, second, and then a little bit further back, third and fourth. So it's nice to have the cars so late into the race have the front four in sight of one another. They'll certainly be in sight down the straight. There comes third, Gerrit Beekes, and there comes the fourth position car of Chris Collison.
Jason gets so close to Yonder, but just can't make that little bit extra to make a clean move.
Now, the Team Harder Racing guys, I remember they ran the Aston Martin when we ran, what formula was that, GT3?
Yes.
And they were also, between the two of them, those cars were just so quick. And I think the guys that were running the BMWs were saying that the BMWs were heavy, although I remember in Belgium, where you've got that long straight, that the BMWs actually could get one gear shift higher, but they didn't have necessarily, they had 1 or 2 kilometers an hour on the Aston Martin, but certainly they couldn't use it around the tight bits to keep the car competitive against the Aston Martin. It was just so good.
Jason gets really close up to Yonder here. I think he sort of struggles out of the last turn, just can't quite get the drive, and then he makes it up the rest of the lap.
But look at the Bumblebee approaching, and that gap is now down to 1.3 seconds between Gerrit and Jason. So Jason's going to have to think about fending off Gerrit pretty much soon, rather than the thoughts of attacking Yandere. So, as you say, he's battling with, I don't know what it is, but he doesn't seem to get the car in and out of the corners as quick as what Yandere does. But certainly Gerrit has his own line, and he gets in and out of corners very quickly. Has a very smooth line, except the one mistake I saw him make in race 2. He got the back end when he was attempting that pass. Oh, there he's got to come off the throttle, and that'll lose the momentum. You see it immediately. You lose 2 car lengths. Otherwise, you will run into the back end of Jason's car, and that's not what you want to do. Here's the bank section. He goes the high road again. Makes it to his advantage. Jason, the gravel, the grip is not so good, or the grass. The photographers love that spot. They sit there with their camera lenses poking through the fence, and you see some amazing photographs there. But here's first and second, Yandere Dippenaar ahead of Jason Underwood, and I wouldn't say comfortable, but it's half a second now. It's been a lot closer before. Gerrit Beekes now 1.5 seconds. Maybe he's decided the risk is just not worth it. But knowing Gerrit, I don't think that will be his thought. He will be cross with himself for making the mistake that he did. Not that it was a mistake, but he had to get off the dirt to get back onto the road again. And as we said, with only 5.5 minutes to go, the tyres are probably screaming at the end of their grip, the end of their life, and they'll have to do it for another 5 minutes. And as we saw the last race, the race leader actually crossed the line with about 5 or 6 seconds to go, and then you of course extend the race by 1 lap, and you have the tires do so much more, because the laps here at Zandvoort are quite lengthy. They're 1 minute 38, and for the middle of the field 1 minute 40s. There's first, second and third across the finish line now. Yandere Dippenaar, Jason Underwood, Gerrit Beekes, Tarzan Corner. As they come through Tarzan Corner, it's into turn 2, which in itself is a hairpin. Well, Tarzan Corner is a hairpin, then into Gerlachbocht, and they use the banking of Hogenholz. See 2 very different racing lines there between Yandere and Jason. Gerrit Beekes just reeling them in slowly.
Looks like Jason's going to have to go for quite a lunge to make it stick. He just doesn't have the little extra that he needs to make the move. So he's going to have to just close his eyes and jam on the brakes as late as he can. But Yandere is defending for all he's worth here, and I'm sure he's just watching the time, making sure that he stays ahead, keeps his car nice and wide, stays nice and smooth. As we see a little bit of a slide there, but nicely controlled. All the while, Gerrit is closing.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The element of risk that is happening with that, of course, is that Gerrit is catching both of them. And if Gerrit has half a chance to get past Jason's car, then of course Yandere has a totally different race on his hand because the Flying Bumblebee will be up the exhaust pipe of his car, and I think that car is going to be a lot more aggressive than is Jason. And nothing bad about Jason, it just appears that with the current setup, the Flying Bumblebee seems to be going. Jason's, I wouldn't say has been clever, but Jason has covered the line that Gerrit prefers, which is the high line. And a bit of lockup, he closes the low line, which he's entitled to do. You're entitled to change direction once, but he will certainly know. Now you'll probably see that the gap between first and second is going to increase. It's a second now between Jandre and Jason, because Jason is now defending from Gerrit. Here's where Gerrit went off onto the grass a lap or two ago, lost himself some time, but he's made it up again, and he's trying to attack for second position now for Jason Underwood. And certainly Jason has a different race strategy now with 2 minutes 40 to go. So they're going to finish this lap, and the next one will be the last.
Having very loose over the bumps there with the tyres being worn the way they are and the fuel coming down the car, it really does slide around a lot, but being very well held by the drivers.
So certainly interesting racing, first, second and third that you're looking at. From third place to Gerrit Beekes, and he's looking ahead of him is Jason Underwood, Team Harder Racing, and then PZN panel beaters Jandre Dittenaar, the car ahead of them both.
I'm sure Jandre just can't wait for the laps to end, but it's going to be another 2 laps for the looks of it. Oh, sorry, another 1 lap at least.
This one and one more.
Oh, I think it's probably, yeah. I don't think they're going to get to the line, so there will be 2 more laps, yeah. Jandre definitely doesn't want to roll off just so that he can have 1 more lap, but he's going to have a fast charging Jason and Gerrit behind him, so he has to put, which means he has to do another lap. If the gap was a bit bigger, he could have rolled off and maybe just done 1 more lap. Unfortunately, he didn't have that luck.
And here comes Gerrit, and he's trying to do it on that double direction change behind the medical center, the press center. And here he takes the high line, and Jason takes the low line. Oh, he's got the 2 wheels on the dirt again, back marker on the inside, but the back marker was well out of the way of both of them. I wonder if they're not racing thinking this might be the last lap, because depending where Jandre is now got a nice lead. It's going to be touch and goes again, going to be a few seconds that determines whether it is 1 more lap to go or not. And it's certainly going to be very interesting to follow them to the line, because the finish line at Zandvoort is just after the point where you exit the track to go into the pits.
Ooh, contact.
Yeah. And now they'll sort of get them both pointing in the right direction. Where is Chris Collison? So now they'll get each other going, and Gerrit will let Jason go first, and there's Chris. I think Chris just was too far back to have any advantage on that, or to gain any advantage.
I can see them, but yeah, they might have slightly dirty tires, so they'll probably be slow for a corner or 2, and then it will clean up. I think this will be the gap, and now they'll start to pull away. But that does mean that Jandre has been released.
And he can actually roll off. How many seconds ago? 3. He can.
I think
Flag. Should be flag, yes.
It takes the win. There we go.
It was literally with a second or 2. Because I think with the accident happening behind him, he could get out of Arie Luyendyk and see that they're not there, and then get off the throttle so that he didn't have to do another lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was bound to happen, because the only way he was going to get past was to go for a lunge, because it was getting to the point where tires are worn, time is running out. You have to go for a lunge, and unfortunately, he went for the lunge, locked up his tires, and then just drifted slightly into the back of Jason, and that pushed the front of his car around. Jason's rear end around, so they both split around together, and that was the result.
Right, so Jandre Dittenaar, from having a disastrous first race, taking the win in the second race. Jason Underwood in second position. Gerrit Beekes fighting back very well from stone last into third. Chris Collison took 4th position. Sean Olivier, well done, 5th position. Dinesh Singh had bad luck in the first race, but certainly had a solid second race. He had his few moments as well, but he's taken that 6th position. Donovan Vermaak in 7th. Rian van der Westhuizen in 8th position. Marius van Wyk in 9th. Let's wait for this Arjan Belder, and it'll be the last of the point scoring positions in 10th position. So Also, after not a great race, Aryan coming back. Are these guys still racing? Well, the system says final lap at the top.
Yeah, Yandre is right behind the last driver to come across the line, which will be Andre Hildebrandt. We'll follow Andre, then we'll go to an ad break. But yeah, Yandre is carried on. I don't know if he maybe thought the race was over, but the checkered flag had come out.
Yes, we actually watched it by the second. So maybe it's telling the other drivers that they were on the final lap.
Yeah, because they had all crossed. Yeah, interesting.
So, right, what a great race that was.
Yeah, fantastic stuff.
Made very exciting by, and sorry, Gerrit, the fact that Gerrit had a bad start actually showed how good he is, and having to fight all the way back to get a very, very creditable third position.
All right, well, we're going to jump to an ad break now. We'll be back shortly with our top 3 drivers. So stay tuned. We'll be back probably in about 5 minutes' time. But until then, you can watch the ad breaks and we'll catch you shortly. right, welcome back everyone to the completion of the Sim Experience Weldmech Porsche Supercup, round 8 from Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Of course, this means we have our interviews, and for the top 3 we have Gert Birkus in first place, Jason Underwood in second, and Chris Collison in third, who Chris unfortunately won't be joining us. So let's start with Gert. First of all, Sean, do you want to do the questions for today?
Yeah, just quick questions. Gerrit, great first race, nothing much to talk about there. Tell us what went wrong with the start in race 2.
Yeah, in the second race, for some reason, as the light went green, the car went into first, and then when I tried to shift to second, it didn't want to. And we've been having this issue. Some of the guys, I think it happened to Chris once, and it happened to Dinesh once. So I had to stop the car completely, get it back into neutral, and then check that it shift to second, and then I could only get away. So it's just the same problem that's been plaguing us, throughout the whole thing.
Okay, and that leads to another question. How did you enjoy starting stone last and then making it up all the way to third position, including a little bit of a spin there between yourself and Jason?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, that happened. I actually kind of knew, because in the first race we were actually kind of saving the tires in the beginning, and then with 10 minutes to go, you kind of clock out and then you try and go. But yeah, this race I didn't have that that luxury. I had to push from the beginning. So unfortunately, when I got to Jason, I just think my front tires was just cooked, and I was maybe a little bit over ambitious with that overtake move I tried to do, and unfortunately I touched him. But yeah, basically that was my second race.
But I think that's the way it would have ended anyway. Jason, you seem to be having difficulty in race 2. We noted you're as quick as Jandre, but you appear to be having difficulty to find a point where you could actually get close to him to actually try and make a pass.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those tracks where it's quite difficult to overtake regardless of your speed. You need to get overtaken to T1, you need quite a bit of a straight line advantage, which obviously all the cars are more or less the same. I thought I was a lot quicker, but to make a safe overtake would have been a bit scary. So the first race I pushed hard and pushed him into a mistake, and then the second race I was hoping to do the same, but he kept it on track, and fair play to him.
Right, that's just about it. We don't have Chris to chat to, but he had quite a good race evening as well. There are quite a few of the guys that had good races, but Gerrit, at least we got a good chance to look out of the front of your car and see the Bumblebee. Jason, well driven. Back to you, Dennis.
One last thing then before we say goodbye. Of course, Gert, by taking pole position, you got your 2 points that you needed to wrap up the championship. So you are the champion of the Weldmech Porsche Supercup.
Oh, okay.
So congratulations on that. You are unable to be beaten now.
Yeah, thank you.
We will have a nice celebration for you at the end of the championship.
Yeah, cool.
All right, and that'll be it. I'm going to kick you guys out for now, so thank you very much. Thank you, and congratulations on your podium positions.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And everybody.
Right, of course, that means our next event will be in Montreal in Canada. I think it's Quebec in Canada, which is a fantastic circuit. I think it's one of the nicest tracks to race, so that should provide some good racing. It's fast, it's flowing. In real life, it always provides entertaining racing, whether it's wet, whether it's dry. It seems to be one of those tracks that has varying seasons, sort of all seasons in one race. So expect to maybe see some weather there, maybe a bit of rain or something in the race as well to spice it up a bit. It should be an interesting race nonetheless. It's definitely, I think, the nature of the fast straights, and there's multiple fast straights. So effectively there's the main straight, which is probably the shortest straight. Then there's the back straight, which leads into the final chicane into the main straight, which is one of the longest straights, if not the longest. Then there's another straight before that, joined by a hairpin. And before that, there's another straight. So there's quite a few straights here. So there's lots of slipstreaming. And I think the nature of the sort of tighter corners, it just tends to keep the drivers close together. And because the corners are tighter, the guys can go for a lunge up the inside. So could be an interesting race like it is in the real life. So hopefully that'll be a good round to watch.
And of course, the last round will be Monza, which is also a track known for high speed. So it's going to be an interesting end. In 2 weeks' time, would you believe we'll say that's it, end of round 10 of the Weldmech Porsche Supercup?
Yeah, it's been a interesting championship so far, and we've had a absolutely dominant driver in the likes of Gerrit. So Gerrit has won this championship fairly, I would say, fairly easily with 2 rounds to go. Well, in fact, actually with 3 rounds to go, because he won it in the qualifying this evening. So before the race had even started, won it. So yeah, absolutely dominated the championship and a very well-earned champion. But until next week, then that'll be it from us. We'll catch you all next week. So have a good week, and until then, stay safe, and we'll see you then.
Good night, everybody.
The right button here. All right. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah, I can.